Hey everybody, Rosario here, and welcome to Modern Finance. I want to talk to you today about something that I've heard all over the internet, and that's what's going to happen with inflation and the US dollar and the money supply in the coming weeks, and what's going to happen with the economy, what's going to happen with our jobs. Essentially, what the hell is going to happen in the market, with our investments, with everything. That's right. Tonight, we're talking about everything. So I watch a lot of Meet Kevin videos, and I'm sure you do too. He's really good. He talks an awful lot about how he thinks that inflation is going to be transitory and that in September and October, we're going to see an inflection point down and we're going to start seeing lower levels of inflation than we have seen in the past several months. Kevin's also been talking about his investment strategy, essentially relying on three kind of asset classes that could protect him from some of the volatility and the craziness that's happening. And I really like this. He's talking cash, crypto, and properties. Maybe it was CCR, which is cash, crypto, and real estate. I know those are the three things. So those are the things that he's been talking about while we're waiting to see this inflection point in inflation numbers. Let's talk about each of these three classes and what I think about them and why I think Kevin is doing them. So the first one is cash. A lot of people right now say cash is trash, and I tend to agree with them, Ray Dalio included. And the reason for this is that we've seen pretty high inflation. But the challenge right now is figuring out what to invest in. If you have your money locked up in an asset that isn't really liquid and that you can't access quickly, you're not going to be able to buy stocks or other assets when there's an opportunity. I think there could be opportunities in stocks in the coming weeks and months, but I think it's a good idea to have some cash or really liquid assets on hand to be able to buy stocks when those deals start showing up. I myself have been stocking up on cash because if the Federal Reserve does decide to taper, and when they eventually do, or even if the market fears that they're going to taper, there's going to be a drop in the S&P 500. Look back in 2018 when they tapered last time and we had a taper tantrum and the market dropped, I believe it was 15% in a matter of months. I think this time around it could be a lot worse. So if Taper Tantrum Part 2 hits, you best be having some cash so you can buy some stocks once the S&P 500 drops a little bit. Second is crypto. I think crypto is a great investment. I know it's not technically an investment because it doesn't actually produce anything, but I think it's good to hold in comparison to an asset like government bonds, for example, because bonds are, I don't know. Do you really trust governments right now? Do you really want to own a big chunk of them, of their debt? Do you really think they're going to be paying that back? I think that crypto is great simply because with Bitcoin, at least, you know how much supply there's going to be and you know that there's demand for it. There's a lot more regulation coming in, so I'm going to have to reevaluate how much I like crypto in the future. But at least for now, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other top cryptos are great to hold, especially coming into 2022, where we expect to see further unrest and inflation. And as countries really start to struggle with the fourth and fifth waves of the Rona. Speaking of crypto, I have some news that's a little bit disappointing, and that is that my Mogo crypto back credit card is no longer. Mogo has decided that now they only care about the environment and they don't want to give you crypto or Bitcoin back when you purchase with their rewards card as of the end of September. So if you have a Mogo card and you're expecting to get those crypto rewards when you spend, it's not going to happen anymore. So I would recommend actually getting rid of your Mogo card and switching over to something like a crypto.com Visa. If you're in the US, the BlockFi credit card is a great option because it's a real credit card, unlike the crypto.com Visa and the Mogo card, which are actually just Visa debit cards. Okay, back to the three asset classes that Kevin says we should invest in. The final asset class that he mentions is real estate. And holy crap, real estate seems like a bad idea right now. It's at all-time highs and prices just keep going up. But here's the thing. What else do you put your money into when there's so much money flooding the market? You need somewhere to hold it that's an actual asset that can provide value over time. I think we're going to see housing prices pull back at least a little bit in the US, especially with the Supreme Court's recent ruling that the eviction moratorium was unconstitutional. What that means is there's going to be maybe about 800,000 new properties coming onto the market. If that doesn't do anything to housing prices, at least temporarily, I will be very surprised. Housing is always a good investment because it's something that you can actually use. People will need lodging forever. And as long as you need somewhere to live, I think having property is a good thing to have. Even if house prices are overvalued, at least you can rent it out and leverage it for cash flow. As much as housing prices can fluctuate up and down, it seems like rent only goes up over time. It doesn't really come back down. Those are often famous last words. We heard the same thing in 2008 with housing prices. Housing prices only go up, they never come down. But I think in this case, it's safe to say that people will always need a place to live. And even if the price of your house crashes, at least you can continue to live in it if necessary. So I think real estate is always a good investment, especially in these uncertain times. Finally, I want to talk about stocks, because why am I not investing in stocks right now? Well, the truth is I am. I always put the same amount of money into the stock market every single month. And I do that continually over time because I think it's a smart way to invest. It's very hard to predict the ups and downs of the market, and sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. I just think that these other areas are good to get in right now if you're looking at overall macroeconomic trends and you're seeing what's happening in the market, and maybe you want to protect yourself a little bit from any downsides that might happen in the market. I think there could be some opportunities in big tech coming up to invest in. Companies like Apple, Google, even Amazon, because of this resurgence in the Rona that we're seeing. I think with inflation numbers coming up, if we don't see high inflation, or if we do see high inflation, those companies are really strong in terms of revenue and they're really strong in terms of profit. So companies that have good cash flow will do well in the short term, regardless of inflation. Companies that are looking a little bit further out, if inflation ticks up, we might see further reductions in their valuation. If inflation does tick down like Meet Kevin is expecting, then maybe we'll see high value, high growth stocks, high value in terms of high valuation, really be a good buy because we're seeing inflation inflect back down. Anyways, I like what Kevin is saying. I think he does miss some nuance here and there, but he's extraordinarily detailed. He knows what he's talking about. I really like his overall philosophy, and I do hope that he wins governor of California, because if he's in power, I think my family may be moving to California. Otherwise, not so much. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please smash the like button, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.